Hi, this is Jeannie Grandma. I thought I would give a little introduction to the secret life of princesses. There are 12 stories in the secret life of princesses that each have a message for you. And so let's look at what they are by seeing some of the Disney pictures that I took off of the internet. So you have some felt little figurines that I have made that many of you have played with. Meanwhile, Disney has the most beautiful pictures, so let's look at what the different princesses teach. On your left is the princess that Disney calls Jasmine, but her real name is Badroulbadour. Aladdin's princess is Badroulbadour, not Jasmine. And I guess Disney thought you wouldn't like that name, so they renamed her Jasmine. Now, pictured here are 11 princesses. I don't know why in the Disney website they didn't put Sophia the First, who is one of their new ones. I use Sophia the First for number 12. It doesn't matter what princesses you use, and some of them I have too, as you'll see. Let's get started with number 1. Now, generally, I do the Swan Princess for number 1, but she's not a Disney princess. And so I use Tiana in this case, and Tiana is very good for helping us to teach the first princess process principle, which is proud princess posture. So you can either think of Odette or Tiana, but they're both good to help you remember to lift your heart, not your shoulders. You don't lift your shoulders up. You don't lift your chin up and stick it in the air, but you lift your heart, and that gives you the good posture that will help you throughout your life. And then when you watch the other movie, which is the main body of The Secret Life of Princesses, then you will hear a story about Odette. Number 2 is Ella. And you know that when she was in the cinders, she was called Cinderella. But everywhere she went, she had the smooth, graceful glide. So she's our second princess. And she helps you to learn that by walking with your toes straight to the front, you're developing the kind of walk that will help your knees and your hips and your feet to develop without bunions. And besides that, it makes you look wonderful. So it's good for you and looks good. She also teaches you about connecting your steps together like beads on a string so that you don't bounce side to side to side. So you'll hear more about that when you look at the main part of the video of The Secret Life of Princesses. So let's go to the third one, which is Snow White. Now, Snow White teaches a real smile, the kind of smile that comes from your heart. How do you find that? You think of something happy. You can't think two things at the same time. So you have to think of one thing at a time. So if you find something wonderful and you look at it, you can't be thinking about something that's depressing and makes you feel like not smiling. So that's what Snow White teaches in the third princess process principle. Now, fourth is Ariel. Ariel teaches good, graceful gestures because they're like when you're swimming. You move your arms and your hands in smooth, rounded curves with your fingers trailing. You know we have an exercise for this. You've seen it on many of the videos so that it's like you're painting walls when your arms go up, your fingers are trailing, and they'll come behind the movement of your wrist. And moving your hands down, then the fingers are up and they are trailing. The fingers are always behind. When you're painting, try it with a paintbrush. You don't stick the bristles out first and you don't stick the fingers out first. But, I'm getting into too much detail because you're going to learn all about that when you look at The Secret Life of Princesses. And you've already been learning that with me in other ways that we've been learning the princess process. Now, For this fourth princess process principle, I have two of the princesses that I like to use. The other one is the Hawaiian princess, Kaiulani, because she teaches you how to do the hula, and nothing makes your hands as graceful as doing the hula. So Ariel teaches you to move your hands like swimming, and the Hawaiian princess teaches you to move your hands like you were doing the hula. And of course, that's with finger trailing too. For the fifth princess process principle, we use Merida, who's a new Disney prince, and she's certainly had a lot of lessons in princess virtues. But I like to use Anastasia because she's the lost Russian princess, and we don't know if she really was Anastasia or not, because she got in with these people who were trying to trick the grandmother. That wasn't very good. And so that's why I like to use Anastasia to discover that there are many, many times when you have a chance to choose princess virtues. We always have to be diligent and keep trying. And so you'll have a really good story about that when you get to the main part of the video. Now, Aurora is the sixth princess process principle with perfect princess pose. Well, when you wake up the sleeping princess within you, it doesn't matter if you stand in the princess pose or not, but it does make you look better, and so it's something that we like to teach in this sixth principle. But it isn't as important as waking the sleeping princess within you, and that's why we don't talk about it much in The Secret Life of Princesses. But to do it, you just put one of your feet in front of the other in the instep, and that creates the princess pose. It's just a little better than having your feet together. It makes a nice look, especially if you turn a little bit to the side and you keep one knee in front of the other. We can talk about that more later. Let's talk about what is important, waking the sleeping princess within. Because more important is the faith and the belief that Aurora had as she lay sleeping. And you'll have fun hearing that story. I have another princess I like to use for that sixth principle, and that is Princess Winifred. You know, she's the princess from the story The Princess and the Pea. So the Princess and the Pea, of course, was sleeping on all those mattresses, and it isn't showing she's a princess because she could feel the pea. No, it's all of the other things that you've been working on in the princess process. So let's go to 7. That's Mulan. Now, Mulan teaches how to be a pure power princess because she went out and she had to do some pretty hard things, didn't she, to help her dad. And you'll hear more about that in the story. But we have to develop confidence and strength of character by being strong. So we want to be strong princesses. So I like to use 2 other princesses from Star Wars. One was called Queen Amidala, and then, of course, Princess Leia. Well, we know that it's not always easy to do the right thing, and we have to be strong. So we keep working on that. That's the 7th princess principle. You remember when we started out, we talked about Badroul Badour, because she's the 8th princess, and she teaches that we have all that we need. Everything is available that you really need. Oh, there's lots of things we'd like. And we get a lot of those too because of the day and age we're living in. We don't have to have fought wars and claimed ourselves to be royalty because we have machines that make all of these things. You know that from the Princess Process book. But this just gives you a little bit more information in The Secret Life of Princesses about gratitude. So Jasmine, which is the Disney name for Princess Badroul Badour, is the one who's going to help us to be grateful. Oh, sometimes that's hard, isn't it? It is for me. Now, Belle, she's the 9th princess, and she teaches us about being a one-of-a-kind princess. You know that each of us is unique, and each of us has a gift to give to life, and no one else can do what we came to do. It's like we're a piece of a big jigsaw puzzle, and you know what it's like when a piece is missing. It's not good. You have a hole there. And so each of us needs to do our part. It's also like we were weaving a fabric, and if one of us is gone and doesn't do our part, then it's like we're missing one of the beautiful colors to weave into a beautiful cloth. And Belle not only teaches us about being unique, she teaches us how to come down the stairs like a princess. Now, the 10th Princess Process Principle is healthy princess habits, and it's Rapunzel that teaches us that principle. We make healthy choices, eating healthy food or exercise, deep breathing, and then we repeat them over and over, and they become a habit. It's the power of our attention that gets us what we want and not what we don't want. Because we don't say, I'm not going to eat that cookie, I'm not going to eat that cookie, I'm not going to eat that cookie, because our mind hears cookie, 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 and then we eat the cookie. So by the power of our attention, we keep our thoughts on what we do want, and then that's how we develop one habit at a time. And of course, that's Rapunzel, and she is the one that teaches us healthy princess habits. With the 11th Princess Process Principle, Pocahontas teaches us how to have princess party manners. And the way we do this is by thinking of others. It's the golden rule. And that makes it easy. We take turns, we're kind, we help, we share, and if we want to know what proper table manners are if we're out at a special dinner, we watch other people, because there are different manners in different countries, and that's why it's important to watch, especially your hostess, the person giving the party. So that teaches us the table manners in many different lands. Now, the 12th princess principle is poised princess sitting, and Sophia the First teaches this. So we sit on our sitting bones. That makes it effortless to sit up straight. We keep our knees together, and we cross our ankles. And if we turn our hips to one side of the chair and our knees to the other, it gives us a nice soft curve instead of a boxy, angular look in the chair. Sarah Crewe, in the book A Little Princess, also teaches this principle. That completes our introduction to the secret life of princesses with Disney pictures, but there are a few more pictures that I have put on here for you to enjoy, so that while you're playing with princess dolls, you remember that you're royal. You remember to act like a princess all day long by saying and doing the things that a princess does because she knows she's royal, like being kind and thoughtful, loyal, true, brave, virtuous, and trustworthy. And there are many, many more. When you have learned all of the 12 Princess Process principles, then you can be one of the fairy helpers, wear your wings, and teach the younger princesses all that you have learned, and have an enchanted time at a princess party. Putting on your fairy wings to help you remember to help and to teach the younger princesses is like putting on your princess crown to remind you of your posture, or to put on your princess ring that reminds you that you are a princess, and then you remember to act like a princess. Your scepter reminds you to move your arms and fingers with graceful round moves whenever possible, Now, if you practice this, which is the fourth princess process exercise, it will train you to use graceful gestures so that you don't have to think about them at any other time. Because you see, if you're always thinking about what your fingers and hands are doing, then they become affected looking. That means they just are too obvious that you're trying to do something with them. Instead, it's important to practice at other times, to practice the exercises, but then the rest of the time, when you're not practicing, you just think about loving like Belle teaches us and doing your best to help. So these are the things I thought of to tell you when I saw these beautiful pictures on the Disney site. And when you look at the Disney site, do you think about all of these princess principles? I hope so. Like on Mulan. Oh, I love the pictures on there. And here is the link so that you can look for yourself on the slideshow. But I wasn't able to copy the pictures so that you could see them here. But they have all the pictures that show Mulan trying to learn grace and poise, and then her going off to help her father. And we enjoy all of these movies that Disney's put out, and we try to learn the best from them. Bye for now. Enjoy the secret life of princesses, my darling, beautiful princesses.